Welcome to Programming for Designers. This is Trish Ladd, WIP 400 Platt College. PHP and the Graphic Draw Library, also known as the GD Library. So we're going to talk about the GD Library, which is one of the most used image processing tools in PHP, and it allows us to do all kinds of cool things with either pre-existing images or even just to create our own images on the fly. Additionally, with the EXIF extension, you are able to work with the information stored in the headers of JPEGs and TIFF images to get metadata from photos and other items like that. The GD library includes over 100 functions. This is what it looks like when you run PHP info and the GD library is enabled. Here's a bunch of those functions I just mentioned. So here are some functions that we'll probably use. Get image size helps us find out what the size of a current image is when we upload it. For example, create from JPEG. We can create a new image from a current JPEG. We can also do this with GIF or PNG, etc., etc. We can resize the image and resample it in the process. We can output images, and image destroy frees any memory associated with the image that was just created. We can create dynamic images on the fly. Based off of information from a database, we can create charts and whatnot, and I'll show you an example of that shortly. So on my website, I have an image, and you can see the tab right next to it is the actual image itself. If you look at the page, the source for that image is in an image tag. The source for that image is programming.trishlad.com/caps_shield.php. That was written in code. It's an actual PHP file, but as you can see, it looks like an image. This is from a project that was a cat mood tracker, which allows the user using the cat mood tracker to track their cat's moods if they're in a bad mood or if they're in a good mood, rated from 1 to 5. And this allows you to get a visual grasp on how good or bad your cat was feeling over the week on a particular day. And as you can see in the URL window, it's just a PHP page, but the browser treats it like an image. Just by changing the cat's ID value, I can get statistics on a different cat using the same exact code. It is a dynamically generated image. Conceivably, you could see a pattern emerging amongst the cats in the household that might be easier to grasp visually rather than textually through a report. So, how do we get images up on the server? Well, we would need to upload them or FTP them. If we want to work with images that the user provides, then we need to do something like this with a form where we upload the file. We can then take a user-supplied image and convert it into an avatar or potentially associate it with a post entry. The ink type attribute can only be used when the method on the form is post, and you will need to use that ink type attribute value in order to upload files. When we upload a file, it does not go in the post SuperGlobal Array, it goes into the files SuperGlobal Array. And this holds all the information about the file, such as the name of the file, its current temp name, because whenever you upload something to the server, it puts it in the temp folder and gives it a temporary name, type, size, etc. There are a number of different attributes. And essentially this is an array inside of an array. So here's the general process for storing their values in the database. We use the file uploader script, we store the image file in a specific directory, we confirm that it worked, and then we write that path to the database. So we'll store the file path where the image is stored on the server in a field in the database, but not the image data itself. In summary, the GD library is typically installed with PHP. It isn't always, but you can check for it with PHP info. It allows us to create images with code, which allows us to then turn around and make dynamic images that can be updated whenever we make a change in the database or whenever the user makes an update in the database. We can create graph charts, we can create pie charts, we can create all kinds of cool charts, something that visually represents what it is that we need to communicate to our users. And we can do this with programming. We can manipulate existing images, we can resize them or place a watermark upon them. Files can be uploaded to the server and they have to be processed through the file's SuperGlobal Array, which means that you must use the ink type attribute in your form and the method of that form must be post. As always, I hope that this lecture has been informative and helpful, and I wish you happy coding.